Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from TinaHills.com, and in this video I wanted to discuss the temperament of each sign. So we know that the signs are broken up into elemental breakups like fire, air, water and earth. Okay, so and we know that they are also broken up into modalities like fixed, cardinal and mutable. So today I want to take you through some basic concepts of Hellenistic astrology, which is very similar to Vedic astrology as well. So let's start from Aries and move on to the 12 signs of the zodiac. So Aries is the first sign and is ruled by Mars. So it's masculine and it's a diurnal sign. And immediately you know that it is fiery, hot and dry. Okay, so fiery, hot and dry, right? And when we think of Mars, the ruler, we think of all kinds of cutting and scarring that can happen in Aries. It's a fiery temperament. Okay, now moving on to Taurus. Taurus is the second sign. Taurus is nocturnal, ruled by Venus. Okay, and this is womb energy. I've told you many times before, and this is Earth, fixed earth. Aries is cardinal fire, fixed earth. So earthy, cold and dry. Okay, earth signs are cold and dry. Okay, and basically fire and earth are dry. Okay, so water and air are moist. So that's the difference, right? Because water and air sort of connect. Now it's very interesting, especially for an astrologer like myself, to really look at elements in a deeper way, because the elemental structure of a particular sign reveals a lot. And of course the modality. Here we take Taurus, which is nocturnal, feminine, the domicile of Venus. Now, who takes pride or who's exalted in Taurus? The moon is exalted in Taurus. And who's exalted in Aries? Right, the sun is exalted in Aries. Is the first fire sign, right? Now we move on to Gemini, which is mutable. Okay, again the modalities are very important to ascertain the energetic vibe of each sign. Like I told you, fixed signs are tamasic, cardinal signs are rajasic, and mutable signs are sattvic, right? Because of the adaptability. These are gunas, and they're very, very important to understand a native's energy or vibe, right? So because it's air, Gemini is hot and moist, and it's air, and we know air scatters, and within all the modalities, mutable air scatters quickest. So therefore we have that very scattered energetic vibe of Gemini, right? Now this is the third sign of the zodiac. Now the fourth sign of the zodiac is Cancer. Cancer is watery, the domicile of the moon, exaltation of Jupiter. Okay, so this is watery, cold and moist. We know that the moon is cold and moist, right? Now moving on to the fifth sign of the zodiac. Fifth sign of the zodiac, domicile ruler is the sun. No planet is really exalted in the sign of Leo, and Saturn is in detriment in the sign of Leo. Okay, so again we have the myth of Saturn and the sun playing out. Even in Vedic astrology, Saturn is actually the son of the sun, with a sort of phantasmal entity called Chaya. Chaya literally means shadow, right? So we know that there's a central spiritual sun, and the emanated sun is the physical emblem of that spiritual sun. Okay, and Saturn being the lord of the seventh planetary sphere. It is Saturn's job to bring to us all the information from the fixed stars, right? Now we've got Leo, who's fiery. Leo's fire, and this is fixed fire, okay, and hot and dry, of course, because sun is hot and dry, right? Now moving on to the next sign, Virgo, mutable, so sattvic. Domicile ruler happens to be Mercury, right? And who is in fall in Virgo? Jupiter, because Jupiter, it rules the polarity Pisces. So here Jupiter, which is expansion, has a difficult time expressing himself, right? Now Venus is also in fall in Virgo. Jupiter is in detriment, Venus is in fall, okay, in Virgo. Yet we've seen some of the most beautiful women, or some of the most Venusian archetypes have Venus in Virgo. So Virgo's sattvic, mutable, so sattvic, and earthy, cold and dry, okay. So I told you earth is dry, cold and barren as well. Earth signs are, fire signs and earth signs are barren. The most fertile sign is Cancer, and second to Cancer is Pisces in fertility, right? And then of course Taurus, and then the rest follow, right? But we know that the fire signs are extremely barren. For instance, the signification of Mars is abortion, one of the significations. One of the significations of Saturn is childlessness, okay? Whereas Jupiter is childbirth, Venus is childbirth, right? So moving on to Libra, cardinal air. So air, like I told you, air articulates things, air expresses things. Without air there would be no expression, there would be no articulation of concepts or conceptual understanding. So Libra is airy, hot and moist, okay, domicile of Venus, okay, exaltation of Saturn, right, and fall of Mars, because Mars rules Aries. Mars is in exile here in Libra, okay. And we can understand the Libra and the necessity and the love of justice because of this exaltation of Saturn in Libra, which is so beautiful. So airy, hot, moist, right? Now this is the seventh sign of the zodiac. Now we move on to the eighth sign of the zodiac, which is Scorpio. Scorpio's water, fixed water. Domicile ruler is Mars. Modern domicile ruler is Pluto, the higher octave of Mars, okay. And Scorpio is cold and moist. It's feminine. So we've seen Mars rule two signs. He rules Aries, which is cardinal fire, and he rules and masculine, and he rules Scorpio, which is fixed water, feminine. So I think Mars expresses himself way better in Scorpio than in Aries. Expression of Mars, it's more stealthy, more lethal, right? So Sag is fiery because it's again mutable, sattvic fire, and it's hot and dry. We know Jupiter is a gas giant. This is the domicile ruler of Jupiter, and Sagittarius is all about expansion, philosophy and growth and things like that, okay. Now the opposite sign is of Sag is Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So we know Mercury is in exile in this Jupiterian sign because Jupiter is more about gnosis, whereas Mercury is about data gathering, data collection, information, day-to-day exchanges, okay. Now also if you look at planetary joys, you see Mercury having planetary joy in the first house, and that's very interesting because in a sense Mercury is our thought, our mind, right? Even the Vedic astrologers say Mercury is our mental states. Yes, the moon is very much our mental states. With Mercury as well, the cogitation process, okay, the analysis. So Sag is fiery, hot and dry, okay. Then moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, right? And Saturn is Capricorn opposes Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. And in Capricorn, we have the exaltation of Mars. So here Mars expresses himself through this earthy, cold, dry signature. Of course, there are things that you need to look at day and night chart, like I cannot stress enough. But these significations help you explore more about each sign, right? Now moving on to the next sign, it's Aquarius. Again, ruled by Saturn. Interestingly, no planet is exalted in Aquarius. Some say Mercury is exalted in Aquarius. Actually, the fall or detriment of one planetary body is very interesting in Aquarius, and that is the Sun. So we see Sun as the process of individuation. And in Aquarius, we have the fall, or Sun is in exile because he rules Leo, you know. So we understand Aquarius is about large groups of people. There is, if you are not confident in yourself, and yet we know Aquarius to be very independent. So the thing I was getting at when I was trying to say if you're confident is that, you know, the dichotomy of Aquarius is that do I remain an individual or do I enmesh myself with the group? You can enmesh yourself with the group and yet retain your individuality. I think only when you truly attain the process of individuation can you forget your fake ego, take it off, and actually immerse yourself in crowds of people. It is not easy to do. So that's why we see the dichotomy play out between Saturn and Uranus, who happens to be the modern ruler of Aquarius. And like I told you, air connects, air articulates. Aquarius is fixed air. So it's hot, okay, and moist. Okay, air is moist and airy. Now, I will stress that Saturn does better in Aquarius than in Capricorn because of that exaltation in that air triplicity. So Saturn sort of is more dignified, and again, Capi being a nocturnal sign and Aquarius being the diurnal expression of Saturn. So I think Saturn is way more, Saturnine. The lord of the seventh planetary sphere expresses himself profoundly through Aquarius. And moist, so fertile. Although Aquarius is barren, many astrologers, including Vattius Valens, has said that Aquarius is barren mostly. Pisces, watery, cold, moist. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter again is domicile ruler of Sag and Pisces. They're again mutable, fire, yang expression of Jupiter. And in Pisces we have mutable water. So, it's very interesting. And Venus has her exaltation in Pisces. So immediate Mercury is in exile in Pisces. So we immediately understand that Pisces is not about logic, but this is the second most fertile sign of the zodiac. So once you really work with these significations and you look at the what hot, what cold, what moist, what dry means to you, and you can put together the whole story of reading a natal chart much easier. So please like, comment, subscribe and share, and let me know what you think.